let me give you guys a really quick story time about how I trusted God, and He blessed me after I trusted Him, even though what I had to trust Him with broke me and hurt me. Okay, so if God has to use somebody or something to break you to get you back to Him so that you can trust in Him, He will do it. But here it goes. I was in a very committed relationship last year where I was leaning towards marriage with a person. The relationship was phenomenal. The relationship was great. Everything that I could ever imagine, we were like this, okay? As the relationship went on, we, had a close bond with each other, but we weren't surrendered to God like we were supposed to be. And I had believed that God brought me to this person, but then again, I wasn't surrendered to God like I was supposed to. I had made that person an idol in my life. Around December, things started to change for us. We started getting in a lot of arguments, a lot of disagreements, a lot of fights. January comes, the relationship ends. I'm completely devastated. I'm completely devastated because I felt like this came out of nowhere. He started acting different to me out of nowhere. Everything just completely changed. I was heartbroken. I cried for probably a whole month straight every day. When I would get off of work or when I was going to work, I would just be bawling my eyes out. So I still had the key to this man's house because I spent literally 3 to 4 to 5 days sometimes at his house. So I still had the key to his house even after we broke up. I remember around February, the very beginning of February, I had went to the dentist, and this was after a time that I had been crying, and I was just praying to God on what I needed to do about this situation. And God told me I had to give him the key back. And I did not want to give the key back because in my mind, that key allowed me to still have some form of access to him. I still had a key to his house. He didn't ask me for the key back or anything like that. But I still had a key. So in my mind, I still had access. There was still a way for us to work things out. But God told me to give the key back. So I remember I went to the dentist, and on my way back from the dentist going to work, I had to drive past his job to get to my job. So I could always see when he was at work. So like I was saying, I always had to drive past his job to get to my job. So right before I was passing his job, God was just like, go in there and give him the key. I was so nervous. I was sick to my stomach. I was like, oh my gosh, am I really doing this? So I texted him and I said, hey, are you at work? Even though I knew he was at work because I saw his car. And he was like, yeah. I was like, are you busy? And he was like, not at the moment. Why, what's up? I was like, I had already came into his job or whatever at the parking lot. And I was like, come outside. I have to give you something. So he comes outside. And when I see him, my mouth was all swollen because I just left the dentist. But I gave him his key back. And I said, thank you. And I gave him a hug. He was looking confused a little bit. And I let him know I'm not trying to set you up or anything. This ain't nobody about to jump out of nowhere. But, I just want to say thank you or whatever. And I was just saying thank you because he was good to me. Even though he broke my heart at the end, in the beginning, he was very, very good to me. Even with the breakup, it wasn't like my breakups that I'm used to is on some crazy stuff because I've been with some crazy people. But this breakup, it wasn't like that. So, I had to say thank you, and I gave him the key back and I left. When I left, I thought when I was going to give him the key back and I thought I was going to cry, but I had a peace. That's how I knew that that's what God was telling me to do, because I had a peace about the situation. I had a peace and I didn't cry after that time anymore. But I trusted God with that, because at the time I was renting out my aunt's basement. At that time, I was traveling from like over an hour and something to get to work around that time. So I was trying to move, and I was trying to do things for me and my kids. And my focus was off because it was solely on my relationship. So when I surrendered that, and then I started seeking God wholeheartedly and all the time, I got a promotion in my job. Um, I just became more at peace in life, and I was able to move. Okay, all the things that God, I had been praying to God about. So everything that I was believing in God for and praying to God for, after I surrendered that relationship, He started to fulfill everything that I was asking Him to do. I needed more money, more income, because I'm a single mother of 3 kids, and I needed to move, and He was just increasing me in all the areas of my life. So I'm saying, like, when God asks you to surrender something, just know the thing that's on the other side, it's going to be a big blessing for you. Because He knows it's not easy for you to surrender it. But if I had still been in that relationship and not focused on God the way I should have been, I probably would have still been living in my aunt's basement. I probably would have still, been working the same position that I was working, because the relationship was such an idol to me. Like, like I couldn't even, I wouldn't say I wasn't focused at work, but I wasn't giving my all at work either. Because I was trying to rush home to get to my man. Don't nobody judge me, okay? So I had some really big issues going on. I wasn't focused on looking for a place to move, or stacking my money the proper way. I mean, I was saving, but I wasn't, even looking for a place to move or anything like that, or preparing myself to move, because I was so focused on my relationship. But God used that relationship to bring me closer to Him, because even though it broke me, it brought me closer to God. And even though He had me to surrender it, it still brought me closer to God, because I knew God was the only one that could heal me from the pain that I felt from that relationship being over. As well as I knew God was the only one that was going to make the increases happen in my life. So just trust God with everything. When He asks you to do something, just do it. I know it hurts. I know it's hard. And He's going to ask you to do stuff many a times. It's not just one time that He's going to ask that. He's going to keep asking you to surrender things. And you just have to give it up, and just know that He has the best plan for you on the other side of whatever He asks for you to surrender. This goes along with my 25-day devotional that I'm putting out today about trust, and this is so that we can level up in the new year. So I hope this lands on whoever page it needs to land on. I hope it helps whoever it needs to help. Peace, love, and blessings until my next video.